Whatever.
Okay.
Okay.
Captain Casey Turner, 65 Bravo physical therapist here at Fort Bragg Warrior Transition Battalion, and I'm just competed in the Ultimate Champion at Warrior Games.
Great. And then spell C-A-S-E-Y?
C-A-S-E-Y T-U-R-N-E-R.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Can you explain what the Ultimate Championship is?
The Ultimate Championship is a competition for selected athletes from each branch, one or two from each, usually one of each gender. We compete in 8 events, individual events, in each discipline at the Warrior Games. Those include cycling, swimming, air rifle, archery, powerlifting, rowing, and I think that's it.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that one again since they were clapping. And then kind of just say from each branch of service,
okay.
And we have just kind of, that way we can make sure what we're saying.
Okay. Okay. The Ultimate Champion competition is competition selecting 2 athletes, 1 female and 1 male from each branch of service, competing in 8 events in the 8 different disciplines at the DoD Warrior Games. That includes cycling, swimming, archery, air rifle, powerlifting, rowing, and shot put and discus, and field.
How did you get, number 2, how did you get selected to be an Ultimate Champion contender?
I competed in all the events at the regional trials in Hawaii in order to be selected as the Ultimate Champion, and I carried that through at the Army trials, and I don't believe there's another female contender, so they pegged me and I got pegged for the situation, and I'm glad to have been selected, but it was quite a competition to prepare for.
Was Ultimate Champion a goal?
Initially, no, it wasn't. Like I said, I was...
Well, can you say being an Ultimate Champion was not one of my goals?
Sorry about that. Being Ultimate Champion was not my initial goal in competing. I was just hoping to make the Army team in order to compete and represent the Army. But I feel very honored that I got selected to do that and represent in each of those disciplines, and had a really good time preparing and competing at that level.
Did you think that you could win, or how did you feel?
I really didn't go into it with any expectations. Events like powerlifting and rowing were not something that I was looking to succeed in. It was a matter of just kind of doing my best that I could. And like I said, it was an honor to do that, and so I prepared as best as I could in order to perform and represent the Army to the best of my ability.
How many events did you compete in?
I competed in the 8 individual events that were required for the Ultimate Champion, and then I also competed in the 3 team sports to include wheelchair rugby, basketball, and seated volleyball.
Can you talk about the medals that you won?
So I received 7 medals when competing at the Warrior Games. I received 1 gold in cycling, which was my true goal in being at the Warrior Games. It's my true passion, going down there to compete. And then I received 3 silvers, 1 for the Ultimate Champion Award, 1 for shot put, and 1 for swimming. And then I received 2 bronze in team sports, basketball and seated volleyball, and then a bronze in, I don't know what the other bronze was in. Oh, the bronze was in team swimming in the team relay. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, do you think we could do that one again?
Yeah, I was like, I don't even know what that last one was.
Oh my gosh, you got like a whole show. So, okay, can you just talk about the individual medals?
So I received 7 medals at the Warrior Games. 1 gold in cycling, 3 silver, 1 for the Ultimate Champion, 1 for shot put, and 1 for individual swimming. And then I received 3 bronze, 1 for wheelchair basketball, 1 for seated volleyball, and then 1 for the team relay and swimming.
Okay. Describe a day. Well, how long was the competition?
The competition was 10 days in total.
Okay. Can you say the ultimate right? Is that what it was?
Well, no, I mean the Warrior Games were 10 days in total.
Okay. And then describe a day of competition.
Day competition was traditionally pretty long for the Ultimate Champions and participating in all 3 team sports. So most mornings we were up on the shuttle by 5:30, if not 5 o'clock, and some nights we didn't get home till 9 p.m. or 9:30, so it was a very long and grueling day, but very enjoyable to compete all day.
What will you take back? What will you take back your experience to your patients? What experiences will you take back to your patients or to your fellow Army peers?
As a physical therapist, I think this has been a really enriching experience for me, and the lessons that I've learned in persistence and perseverance and carrying on, despite whatever your diagnoses or your medical conditions may be. I've truly competed with inspirational people from all over the world, and in order to educate my patients and remind myself that a small injury isn't something that's going to limit me or hold me back, is the big lesson that I'm going to take back, not only for myself, but for my patients and fellow soldiers as well.
Why are the games important?
I think the games are so important because it shows that life isn't over once a military career is over, or once you sustain an injury or some type of mental or behavioral health issue, showing that there is something more to fight for and to train for and to motivate you every single day to get out of bed. And then also the camaraderie that's developed at these events. The team that I've competed with is now my family, and I now have friends and network across the globe, from Australia to Denmark to the Netherlands, and I look forward to maintaining those relationships throughout my future, really.
Will you be trying to make next year's team?
I don't know yet. It was a really grueling competition preparing for this year's team, so considering next year's preparation will be dependent on where I am in my career as a reservist and as a physical therapist. It would be a great honor to compete again. It's just dependent on where my career takes me from here.
Oh, that's perfect. Okay, Team Army won more medals this year than they have for the past several years. How does it feel to be a part of that team?
I think the big thing about being a part of the Army team is the family that we've developed, and I think the relationships that developed are what helped us succeed so well. To look in the crowds and see your fellow teammates that weren't competing, but they're cheering, is once again inspirational, but also, you know, such a warm feeling, and that's more important than the medals that you win at the end of the day.
How many Warrior Games have you competed in?
This was my first Warrior Games that I competed in.
Is this your best performance? Or if it's your first one, what were your expectations going in?
I truly didn't have any expectations going into the Warrior Games. It was an honor to be there competing at any point with the Army across my chest. But just to have the great success that I did while I was down there, and again, just the relationships that I established while being at the Games was really what I was looking forward to, and I feel very fortunate with the relationships that I've established after being there.
And will you be trying to make next year's team? We kind of answered that already. So, okay, is there, let me just go a little bit wider. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
No, not really. No, unless there's some question that you have or curious about.
What about your training up to it? Can you maybe just talk a little bit about how you trained? I mean, you talked about how you were, you know, like your love for biking, and then did that just kind of like evolve into the other stuff, or did you hear about it, or I guess it's kind of two questions. So like your training for it, and then like how did you like get interested in it?
So my training for preparing for the Ultimate Champion was very rigorous, actually. Competing in all 8 events, most of which I had never done before, required significant practice. There were some days that I was here at the WTB for 8 hours a day doing something of those events, usually 3 to 4 events a day, just trying to hone skills and then prepare my body for the endurance race that it was going to run at the Warrior Games. Interestingly enough, none of the sports that I competed in were things that I'd ever competed in before, so I said it was a new training environment for me. But I fell in love with cycling. I have a great cycling coach here at Fort Bragg who brought us in, gave us all the equipment, and then really shared his passion for the sport, and now it's something that I think I'll carry on into my life after this, something that I can sustain and help maintain my own wealth, or my own health in the future.
Just stop again.
In order to be selected as the ultimate champion and to even compete at the Warrior Games, you have to be selected first locally. So we had trials here at Fort Bragg, and the qualification is to participate or one that you've sustained some type of injury, whether it be a mental health or a behavioral health or a physical injury, and being attached to the Warrior Transition Battalion's assist in that, being identified as a soldier that can compete. And then once you're selected at the local level, then you're sent to the regional trials, which were held in Hawaii this year at Schofield Barracks. Following that competition, you're then selected for the Army trials, which were held in Fort Bliss, Texas. And each level, participants are getting trimmed down in order to select the team. And then the final selection is following Fort Bliss for the DoD Warrior Games, which were held in Tampa this year.
So you competed with people from all over, Army.
Yes.
When you went for the Ultimate Champion, you were with an Army team from.
Correct.
Like kind of combined from.
Yes.
You kind of say that the Ultimate Championship team. Is
So the Ultimate Champion is just a single individual selected from each gender per branch or per country that is represented at the DoD Warrior Games. So I had one fellow Ultimate Champion who's also an Army. He's actually an Army veteran who was selected and competed with me in that competition.
Okay. That I understand.